Coach, getting out there against Wright State, your former team, I mean, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see a lot of the. I mean, I've obviously recruited all the players and spent the last 5 years with those guys. So it was good to see them before the game started. And obviously, once the game starts, it's another ball game, no team to compete against. But it was good to see a lot of those guys. I mean, I love those guys, and you have a great relationship. But once the game starts, you just go play.
Pitching-wise, obviously, it probably wasn't what you were looking for. Just how disappointed with just, I guess, sloppiness on the mound.
Yeah, it was not good. I was glad to see. I'll be honest with you, I was glad to see McCade Brown get out there today. He's worked really hard. He's such a good kid, and we had really worked back and forth a long time, whether potentially to redshirt him or to not. And obviously, with some of our midweek struggles on the mound and some of the injuries we had on the mound, we felt like it was the right time for him. And he that's a really good lineup. And so for him to walk, he walked the bases loaded there and then worked out of it, only giving up one run, and then had a shot there. We had, we got to the third, went to the second, gets to the third. The goal was just to go 3, then to go to B champ. But I look at McCade and I get excited. He's a good learner. He's a really good worker. He's obviously very talented. We just have to be, cautious with him and working through it. But, hopefully some of those things clean up as McCade works his way into it, and as Tommy comes back from the injury here soon, and hopefully, it's a competition. And the reality of the world is, if you can't do a job, then you don't get to do that job anymore. So it's like, just like everything else, it's business. If I was selling paper, you better sell paper, or you got a business. You could do something else. And so hopefully, as those guys get healthy, we can clean it up a little bit on the mound.
Is there any type of update on Summer? You mentioned him coming back soon.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well. I think here in the next couple of weeks, I think he'll be ready to go. But he feels really good. He's back to throwing a lot more, and we're just going to be. He has a career and hopefully a long career ahead of him, and we have a lot of games left to play. So we have to be careful. But I am happy with the progress that he's made.
And will you send him back to that Sunday role, or kind of work his way back in there for a little bit?
Kind of to be determined. Obviously, how McCade progresses and how the weekend starters continue to throw. Obviously, Paul has always been very good, and Tanner's been very good, and Sally's been, kind of a bit of a mixed bag, but he was really good last weekend. So I do know this: there are plenty of innings for Tommy to throw, and they'll all be valuable innings down the stretch.
Where do you think the inconsistency in the midweek games comes from?
Our inability to throw a fastball where we want to. So we don't throw fastballs where you want to. I mean, you look at their guys, and I know them because I recruited them. But Worthington comes out, it's 86 to 90, throws a fastball where he wants to, both sides of the plate. Hawk comes in, throws a fastball. Now he's a little firmer. He's a talented arm. Fastball on both sides of the plate where he wants to. And we didn't do that, and we don't do that. And then when we do that, we throw fastballs in the middle. And that's a real team. There's a lot of those guys on that team who play pro ball. And will have long careers. And so if you throw fastballs at 90 down the middle, they get hit just like everybody else does. But I think with that, and I wasn't upset with our offensive approaches today. I mean, we had a few knucklehead at bats, but that's happened. That happens. There's 27 outs, and you got to go through them all. But we hit some balls hard. I mean, they played great defense. That's a real defense. They field over 980 every year, and they 4, 5, 6 hard line drives. I mean, scorch line drives. They go get like it's no problem. Some really hard hit balls in the infield. So I wasn't upset with our at-bats. Really wasn't. Sometimes you have to win in a midweek 5-4 and 3-2. Those games are part of the equation too. So I wasn't upset with our at-bats. I thought we got a little sloppy, did a few knucklehead things, but that's part of the game too. So
over the past couple of weeks, we started to see Scotty Bradley kind of heat up. What's been the key behind his recent offensive performance?
There's been a couple of things with Scotty. He's continued to work, and the big part for Scotty is, and I'll be honest, we talked to him about this. I felt like when he was able to really use the big part of the field, he was a guy that at some point we're going to get him back in. If you look at the box scores, we were always trying to get him in. We were always trying to find a good spot for him to get in there and go. He played a bunch early. And when he was able to use the big part of the field consistently in BP and show that consistent stroke, balanced stroke, and then obviously he's got the pull side juice, so he can do those things. But at that point, it was about 10 days, 2 weeks ago, it was pretty obvious he'd figured some things out in his swing that allowed him to do that. And, I liked him at first base, but he had to be able to have consistent at-bats to be able to do some of those things and give Lloyd a breather. But he's a fine defender, and he's a good hitter. He just hadn't kind of found his stride yet. And now, obviously, he has and has been really good.
A lot of familiar faces for you today, but another one coming this weekend with Rob Cooper and Penn State. What will it be like taking the field against them?
It'll be a little bit different just because I just know Coach Cooper. Knowing everybody is a bit different than knowing Coach Cooper, but Coach Cooper was one of the most influential people in my life, and the relationships that I build were modeled after how he built a relationship with me. And the standard that he held me to is the same standard I've carried forward into my coaching career. So I do know they'll be very well prepared. I know they'll play hard. I know they'll be passionate. I know they'll be committed to being competitive on every pitch throughout the lineup. But I love Coach Cooper, and it'll be a lot of fun to compete against someone that you have so much respect for. And hopefully we come out and we play well.
Ryan Feynman wasn't dressed today. What's his status going forward?
Ryan's injury is probably going to hold him out for a couple of weeks. So, we just the next man up. We have to continue to move forward. We'll be there for him. We'll support him and hope that he's able to recover quickly and get back in there. But until then, it's going to be Wyatt and a couple other guys are going to have to step up. And I thought Wyatt caught really well last week. And I know there was a few miscues today, but it's really hard to catch when guys are cutting fastballs from one side to the other and flutter and breaking balls. And that's one of the best base running teams in the country. So when guys are running and you're not confident with where the pitch is going, it's hard to get a good throw off. So I thought Wyatt's done a really admirable job, done a good job. He's very talented and has a chance to step in and be just fine. So we'll get Ryan back just as soon as we can.
I think one thing that's been a bit surprising with this team is you guys are leading the nation in home runs. I mean, why do you think the team's been able to do that so much, especially the last few games out there?
Yeah, we have talented players and we have really good coaches. So when you have a combination of some players that have some physical ability and get in and work, and you have really good coaches that know how to teach hitting, good things can happen. And so as we understand more how to run an elite level offense, how to be a professional in our work, a professional in our bats, how to have pitch selection, how to be on time, how our body works mechanically to drive pitch is a big part of the field. As you've seen, and it's not a great mystery, as we've continued to buy in and understand how to run a real offense from the beginning of the season to now, we've gotten far better. And so we just have to do that in everything. The way that we throw our fastballs for a strike, the way we take care of the ball, the way we value the baseball on defense, the way that we do everything, the way we take signs. We have to grow in every single way. There's not one part of the game. You don't just get to club 15 home runs and win like 20 to 1. It doesn't happen very often. Sometimes it happens. Today, they caught them. Tomorrow, they might not. But you have to be excellent, and you have to live to the standard and work to the standard every day in every part of the game, or you get punched in the mouth. And that's what happened today by a team that lives to that standard every day, in every way, in defense and pitching and offense and base running. In the weight room, the way they take the training room, they live to a high standard every single day. We have to do the same.